Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Restoration Talks. Not alone, of course. You see two familiar faces. So, how are you doing, Brother Samuel, Brother ABC?
Yes, I'm doing fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine as well. I'm kind of excited for the topic that we're going to discuss today because there were some interesting insights also shared with us by people offline. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. And APC, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Life is
Mhm.
going on.
Life is
Yes.
going good. You can't complain. Well, okay, good, good, good. Happy to see that both of you are doing fine. So, of course, we're going to discuss the spirit of error, and we're going to discuss part three, the power of missionaries. So, before we really dive into okay, what notions, what have people already shared with us, and some other interesting stuff, when I say missionaries, what comes to mind for both of you? Let's start with Samuel.
I think the people that traveled around the world to convert people onto Christianity,
Hmm.
that's what comes to mind. And by doing it in a way that is not very, how do you say it, um, morally correct, maybe, because they know that it is not something good that they are doing, but they are packaging it like it's the good way,
Hmm.
knowing that it's something that they have bad intentions behind it.
Yeah, yeah. And APC, is your understanding of missionaries the same, or does it differ from what Samuel said?
It's the same. It's the same. I would think more, yeah, it's the same. When I hear missionary, I think most of the time always on the letter of King Leopold
Mm,
came to Congo. So it's exactly the same.
You're spiritually attuned because let's see, let's see what we can bring up in the conversation later on. Yeah, for me, actually, the same as what both of you think. Um, but I do have to say, when I hear the word missionary in itself, I would not always place it under something bad or evil. But I think the more that I got to know about what they did and how they influenced the world, that is where I would place them. Because my question to both of you actually is missionary work, is that something bad? Is that something good? How should we see that doing missionary work?
I
Yeah,
would say from what I've seen,
Hmm.
I would say it is something bad because the intentions are not necessarily based on helping people fight to find God, quote unquote. It is
Hmm.
more to do. It is more a tactical way of fulfilling their mission, and their
Hmm.
mission might be acquiring wealth or uh, dominating people or having more power, and they do
Hmm.
it by way of converting people to their religion. So the intentions behind it, from what I have seen, yet again,
Hmm.
it is bad because they are not there to really help people, but more to complete their mission for their
Yeah.
own gain.
Yeah. So for you, it's really that there's another idea behind why they so-called come to help and spread, in your example, Christianity, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And Apoka, for you, is missionary per se, missionary work per se, something bad, or is it more? How would you explain?
no, I would think not. It's not necessarily bad because you have nowadays also missionaries that go to Africa to help people,
Hmm.
even though they do it under the name of the church. But when we look back from the from history,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of evil in it.
Yeah.
But there are also people nowadays that do more work to help the Africans than we Africans doing for them. So, like there are some organizations that will travel to Africa to help to build schools and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, these kind of thing I would not see it like evil, but when it comes to the agenda of the church in itself, yeah, there's some tricky stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually glad that you also highlighted the positive part purely because we like conversations concerning this topic. Opinions can be quite divided when we asked also through the notions and on our social media platforms. we did see that most people don't see it as something positive. But as Apoka said, there are also some positive sides to missionary work. But I think it's the context in which you place it.
Yeah, it took me a while. It really took me a while to believe that there is a positive side, because
Yeah.
when I heard missionary, I was thinking always about Congo. So my head will start to burn. But
Hmm.
after talking to some people, going through some researchers, I found out some kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And APC, you mentioned, for example, missionaries. They go to Africa. They help the people over there with different kind of things. And in what ways do missionary or have they helped to the development of Africa as a whole?
During school years,
Hmm.
the one that was my teacher did that kind of work next to his normal work,
Hmm.
and he tried to do what they could do, because he also told me, he was a Dutchman, and he
Hmm.
also told me the problem is way too big.
Yeah.
And like my father always say to me, one finger cannot clean the whole face. You cannot do it on your own to help or solve the problems in Africa. But
Hmm.
at least can try to do something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they try to build some houses, some schools, some chairs, and these kind of stuff.
Hmm.
The little that they have, they try to do something.
Yeah. 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 That's
I do have
true.
a question then.
Hmm.
Um, because what are missionaries then? Because what I thought of missionaries, that is the only part I know of missionaries. But when you say it like that, I think it's also separate from converting people to a
Yeah.
certain religion. But who are considered as missionaries, or what is a missionary exactly?
Well, that's a good question. So, missionaries, based on what we all shared, that is one of their understanding. But I think the way it is being done now is maybe comes in a different form, and then it applies to what Apuka said. So maybe those NGOs under the banner of a Christian organization come to
Yeah.
help, volunteer, but the intention is still to bring them to the faith of Christianity. So
Oh, okay.
it's just it has modernized. let's
Yeah.
let's keep it yeah, like that. And Samuel, do you also see how missionaries may have helped the development of Africa? Maybe you don't even think they helped the development. Maybe they made it even worse. So
No,
what's your opinion?
I don't see that positive aspect, but maybe I should research it a little bit better than from what I've heard. But no, I can't recognize positive signs. No.
Explain,
Do you?
explain.
No, I just don't. I
Yeah.
can't name one positive thing from it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
no.
Um, For me, I guess no, I don't see the positive side of it. I think they wrap, as you said, they wrap it up in a very nice way. So yeah, we're going to help, but the what happens then? I don't know if you guys have heard of the term white savior syndrome. Is that the people or the Africans in this case will see those people as, oh, they helped us, oh, they are our saviors, oh, they are going to improve us, they're going to help us. And I believe that that is a very wrong ideology to spread, because the white man is not the savior of Africans. And
Yeah.
I believe that that is the way they try to bring about, oh, our faith, you can just accept it, everything is beautiful, everything is positive. But it creates a mindset that they don't see themselves as the same value. So there's some type of power shift. One is inferior, one is superior, but they are not
Yeah.
aware because they're just focused. The Africans are focused on, oh, we're getting help, whilst the
Yeah.
white people know what they know exactly what they're doing. It's not pure intentions, let's say,
Yeah.
what I would say.
They are very dangerous. One side they help you, and the other side they are stabbing you.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of hard.
yeah.
And the missionary, the when I think about them, I always think on the foundation that they already have laid, that
Mm-hmm.
have caused Africa to be in this position, and the
Exactly.
same people are also trying to help.
Yeah.
So when I look at these guys, I only can shake my head.
Mm-hmm.
Before you know, label you anti-Semitic, and you will lose your job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 They're how do you call that? Slew. I don't even know what the English word is for slew, but they know exactly what they're doing. So I'm wondering, because this is one of our notions that I'm going to bring up. This is something that I personally heard in my own church, is that without missionaries, Africa would not know Elohim. So this is something that they said during a preaching, that we shouldn't see like white people as the enemy, because of them, like the faith came to Africa, and because of them we know God, we know Jesus, and those kind of stuff. So what is your opinion on that?
Yeah. It depends. It
Yeah.
depends on who they want you to know, because I think the image they even portrayed of God and Jesus and what else is different from what was known in Africa. So if you look at it like that, maybe that's why they say it. They gave another, I think, a new breath into their own religion. So they created their own version of it that has distracted us from the truth. So yeah, they are right. If the missionaries didn't come, we would not know God, or we would
Yeah.
not know Jesus.
Yeah.
Because so if you look at, if it's good or bad, you can fill it up for yourself. You can answer that for yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
they came with a mission, and they came with a conversion, and they converted. So they also converted a few people,
Mm-hmm.
more than a few people.
Yeah.
So they are right, but
No.
but
If
they themselves don't believe in God. They themselves don't believe in Jesus.
mm.
The woman doesn't even believe in it. No, no.
I
No,
guess
no,
you need
no,
some
no,
time to process the notion.
no.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I think this is just the way that they have fooled many of us. It is not true. We already knew Elohim way before they came. In our way of being, in our way of praying and looking at the religious aspect, we the Africans, we have more desire, more zeal to even pray more than them that so-called brought that to us. And
Mhm.
yeah, they maybe brought the European way of believing in that, but we already had it. We already had it.
Yeah.
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 but do
Uh,
you think that without the missionaries, Africa would know Jesus?
Jesus,
So not, yeah, not the Messiah, but Jesus.
Jesus Christ, the one who always do like this.
Yes.
Ah, we wouldn't know him as somebody not like the way we Africans see him now. We might
Yeah.
see him like like we see Muhammad now, somebody who just came and passed. But now the black man, the Africans, they idolize Jesus. They put him even on the same level as the one that sent him. And I
Yeah.
think without the influence of the white man, we wouldn't. No, no, no.
yeah. Well, I guess they most definitely know Jesus because of the missionaries and what they
Yeah.
told them. They made known who God was as well. But there was already an idea of concept of Elohim before these people came. And as I also said about that missionary work, what they're trying to sell is that idea of a white savior, and that is also what they did during those mission trips. Everything that was African was bad and evil and black, because we still associate black with things that are evil. Um, and everything that was white, and they also brought that image, of course, of the Jesus with the long hair and the blue eyes. That was good. So yeah, they brought Jesus, they brought God, but they ruined is not even the right word, but They ruined what we had and the one that we called Elohim.
mm,
And that is a very sad thing. Even when I look at the current state of Africans, we've gone crazy when it comes to Christianity and the things that we do in the name of that white savior. But if you go back to the roots of where we started,
Yeah.
then you will see that we already know um, Elohim. So, yeah. I don't know if someone in the comment section also wants to add on onto this. And Brother Apoka, you mentioned the letter of King Leopold. We mentioned it many times during the show as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's very good for people to see the excerpt where Leopold also talks about what we just discussed. So
Yeah.
let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you see the screen?
yes,
Okay, great. So it says when we start from above, they speak and submit to a Mungu, one Zambi, one Zakumba, and what else I don't know. They know that to kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, to lie, and to insult is bad. Have courage to admit it. You are not going to teach them what they already know. Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industrials, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will be the best to protect your interests in that part of the world. For these things, you have to keep watch on disinteresting our savages from the richness that is plenty in their underground. To avoid that, they get interest in it and make you murderous competition and dream one day to overthrow you. So, for those at home that do not know this letter, if you just go online, you can find the letter in itself because here it clearly states what missionaries came to do. This was a letter that he also sent to missionaries. It's not we come there in peace. They had a motive. They wanted the resources in the ground. But when you come, do it in the name of Jesus. Do it in the name of God. Even though Leopold already knew they had that idea of Elohim, or in their language in Zambi. Um, so I think that is something that a lot of people are getting to know, but there's still a lot of people that don't know.
Yeah.
So when I was just reading that excerpt, Samuel, what went through your mind?
yeah. It's a little bit like what I jokingly try to say. Like
Hmm.
they really brought some, like let me say, a deity into Africa, but it was the wrong one. And their mission from the start was to deceive and to overthrow the foundation that was already there.
Yeah.
And that has weakened Africa, as we can see.
Hmm.
But also, yeah, a lot of people now find strength in something that isn't originally found within Africa. There's not a way that people worshipped Elohim. But
Hmm.
now, because of these deceptions, because of the things that they wanted to achieve,
Hmm.
they use the religion as a strategy to literally overthrow kingdoms and also plunder the countries there and the kingdom. So yeah, it confirms what I said, and that's also the reason why I said it because, like you said,
Hmm.
we have covered this letter multiple times already during the radio, so I'm also a little bit more familiar with that.
Hmm.
But yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it just confirms that they really came there with the intention to just take from us instead of giving us something good.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. And APC, because of course the letter talks about Congo as a country. Are there a lot of people that are aware of this letter? Because I could find it very easily. But do people know this?
If I really don't know, and even if people know it, the influence of the religion that the missionaries brought is way too strong.
Yeah.
Even if people read it, it's somehow like they don't believe it and they are not with it. And it is very sad. It's very sad if you look the state of Congo when it was when they came and how the country is now. It is very very sad, and
Mm-hmm.
that people that are suffering still worship them that have robbed them and still holding on that brought them down.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad from being from from a kingdom or man and woman of honor to what we have become now, the lowest of the lowest,
Yeah.
while we sit on gold and diamonds. Is it's kind of sad, and the religion part is yeah, it's kind of sad, and sometimes it makes me tired because the influence is so powerful. But this letter that we just wrote is so powerful. It
Mhm.
has been influencing from way back till today. It is holding all the four corners, and you will not believe it that some a letter how powerful just simple words can be, and what the outcome of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I think about it. And you can cry it from the roof, but yeah, who will listen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We have learned how to love our oppressors in every way, shape, or form, and then to the extent that we don't see ourselves, we see ourselves as lesser. But that's why I'm also really grateful sometimes for the lessons that we had also on the radio, but concerning the history of Africa, concerning different countries,
Yeah.
to see how rich we were. We were truly kings and queens, and unfortunately, we all know because of our disobedience, this has happened to us. But when I read the history books and I see the documentaries, it's really sad how it happened. They were very welcoming to those strangers or those foreigners coming into their country, but as soon as they had the opportunity to take over, they did. And before you know it, we have been brought to slavery. And okay, some people will say slavery doesn't exist nowadays. I disagree. But we are still mentally enslaved to our white oppressors, unfortunately.
And it's also the way that they have brought it,
Yeah,
this mission. They have brought it on a very, uh, how can I say it, very sneaky way by influencing first the younger ones that will rule later. Because the elder people that were those that were rebellious against these, they have all brought them down and influenced the younger ones, and that went from generation to generation to generation. And nowadays, in every Christian house, you will see a statue of Jesus or cross, but it's the same weapon that they use to bring us down, and we idolize it.
hmm,
And when you try to tell somebody that, and they will not listen.
no,
They will not listen, and it's kind of sad.
yeah, fully brainwashed. Samuel, do you wanted to add something?
No, I think yeah, you've already said what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So
And to then add on to what Apoka just said, I'm going to show a clip of Home Team History. For those that don't know him, watch his channel because he has a lot of educational stuff on Blacks and on Africans. And it shows how Europe went to war on the mind of the African and how they did that through religion. Um, can you guys see my screen? Yes? Okay, let's go.
Not the only people group to go to war on the minds of Africans. They're simply the most recent. So please keep this context in mind. There were multiple ways Europeans attempted to infiltrate the mind of African people. The three principal ways seem to be religion, science, and education. Let's start with religion. Religion has an obvious spiritual component. Spirituality is important because, in a way, it justifies our existence and gives it meaning. Given how powerful that is, the one who controls it becomes the arbiter of the truth and the future. Europeans wanted to control how Africans viewed themselves, thus creating a predictive model for their future. They weaponized the Abrahamic religion of Christianity. Ironically, Christianity was a borrowed idea for the Europeans. It's something they adopted themselves. However, within the Christian worldview existed a pre-programmed ideology that could be used against the African. Today, though a misnomer, it's infamously known as the curse of Ham. Reference to the Hamitic curse can be found in early Judaic literature and clearly brings race, that is, blackness, to the forefront as a punishment levied on Ham's descendants. The Babylonian Talmud in 500 AD specifically identifies Africans as the target of Noah's curse and makes a note to highlight blackness as a consequence. It even delineates African phenotypes, such as kinky hair and full lips. Europeans found this to be the perfect utility for the war over the African mind. As many enslaved African people embraced Christianity, interpreted via a European lens, they inadvertently were forced to deal with their divine damnation, and buttressing their attack on the African mind.
Okay. So a lot was said, and as we could hear, one of their tactics was to use the curse of Ham. Are you guys familiar with that? Have you heard of it before?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
heard of it, but I don't know the specifications anymore. So maybe you
Yeah.
can give the details.
Yeah, sure. Apoka, you said yes. Could you maybe explain it to us then, for everyone at home as well? The curse of Ham. What is meant with that?
I cannot explain it.
Okay. Well, it's how can I make this as short as possible? But in the scriptures, it talks about Ham, of course, being cursed when
Yeah,
he kills his brother. Of Ham,
his
sorry.
father.
Yeah. Um, no, I'm mixing Cain and Abel. Sorry, but when it comes to Ham, and when you look at the lineages, and they say that he was perpetuated to servitude, also to Canaan and everything. They said that it had to do with the color of his skin, and they say that that was the curse, that he was black. So the Hamites being black, that shows that they are part of the curse, or that they are the cursed people, and that is something that those missionaries then used to bring out that idea of you guys need help. Since you guys are
Yeah.
cursed, we are coming to save you, actually. So that is how they crept in. It's also something, for example, it's an ideology of many Christian right wing groups. For example, the Ku Klux Klan and all those people. That's the same ideology they have. But
Yeah.
there were a lot of things said in the clip, uh, and they showed that it was not only true religion, education as well, science as well. But do you guys then believe that would Africa have been better today if it had not encountered Christianity at all?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think so.
Yeah.
uh,
Apoka?
I don't. I don't think. I think somehow the curses will follow us wherever we will go. That we had
Mhm.
something Elohim had to deal with us. There's something that Elohim already told will overcome us. If it wasn't the Europeans, then I think the Chinese or some kind of tribe would have done exactly the same thing, but in a different way. But we would be, yeah, somewhere we would be better.
Hmm.
So the curse of Elohim is way too heavy because many of us forget also where we come from, what our forefathers did in the past. We have been so disrespectful, so bad against Elohim that one day he will have to visit us, because of what we our forefathers did. Yeah, there was no escaping. And when Elohim was warning our forefathers, they took it as a joke when he was saying, "I will send nations," but some took it like, yeah, it might be small nation, but Elohim sent to us the wicked of the wicked to deal with us, and and that curse is still following us. So,
Mhm. Yeah. It's a hard one, this one. And the reason that I asked this is because I saw this somewhere in a debate, and opinions were very divided. A lot of people were like, yeah, without missionaries, without Christianity, Africa would still be in some type of hole that they would have been in. And it's true, Christianity, which also allowed the colonizers to come in. Um, that we have developed because we took on also their knowledge and everything they knew. So without that, Africa would not have progressed. Yeah.
But what about them? How would Europe be without Africa if they didn't come to us and rob us and rob our knowledge, our way of being? Because before they came, Europe was a terrible place to live. There are
Hmm.
many diseases. They came out of the dark ages. If they didn't come to Africa, how would Europe be?
Hmm.
That, that I sometimes also ask myself, because it is sometimes like we need them, but they needed us more. They needed Africa to become the world power
Hmm.
after Rome fell. They had nothing left. Africa made them to do the business, to sell weapons, to spread their religion. So yeah, how about them?
Yeah, I think that's a question they don't ask themselves because even in their response that Africa was a whole, I was like, I don't know where, in which part of this world you live in that Africa was a whole, but it already showed me that that person or the people that said that lacked, yeah, some type of sense and did not do their research properly. Because as you said, Apoka, it's actually the other way around. But unfortunately, history is not written by Black people, most of the history that we know, but it's the history of the whites. Samuel, what is your opinion on the fact that Christianity, it helped Africa to develop, it helped Africa progress, yes or no?
Oh, I don't agree, like I already said. But why I say I don't agree is because they created a problem and afterwards try to give a solution for a problem that wouldn't be there if they didn't create it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just simply say it would have been better if they didn't encounter them. But like Apoka also explained, this is yeah, it was destined to happen.
Yeah.
But the things that they did was also to their own wickedness. They already have their own wicked imagination that they fulfilled, unfortunately, in Africa. And afterwards, come and give us Christianity like, okay, this is the way that will give you a better life. But as we can see for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people have had a worse life than they had before because the history that gets told always to us, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, that Africa was just nothing. I think people think Africa before slavery even it was just a jungle, but that's because they when they teach their history they just tell everything about Europe but nothing about Africa. So if you look at it from that perspective, of course you would think they've helped Africa from the jungle state that they are to, to finding religion. But that's not fair. You can only say that if you have looked at African history before. And if there was no history, if Africa was that poor and that bad, they wouldn't have gained anything in Africa when they went there. But they
Exactly.
came back richer than they were before. So
Yeah.
yeah, having said all that, my answer is still no. Christianity was not better.
Clear answer, and I hope this also helps those at home. I hope that some of the questions that we also answered and the things that we discussed are things that you will think about. And when someone, especially when you're Black, when someone comes with these crazy arguments about Christianity and white people and Africa and stuff, that at least you have something to defend yourself because it's just too sad to see that we cannot even defend ourselves in this moment. Of course, Elohim's hand is also in everything that is happening, but as Samuel said, white people took it to a level that is so extreme. What they did to us, it's not even normal. It's really inhumane what they did, and they did this mainly through the first step, which was the usage of missionaries by making us soft receptive to what they brought. And then afterwards, the colonizers came. And we, of course, all know what the colonizers came to do. So, last nuggets from both of you. Are there a few things that you want to leave with the people?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can study the history of Africa if you have time. It might help you to understand the Bible better.
Yeah.
And, don't believe everything that the negative stuff that you hear about Africa's history,
Hmm.
especially before slavery. Just dare to try it, and some things might see like voodoo or like no, but just dare to try to do some research, and I think you will find something.
Yeah. Good one. Doing research. Samuel.
Yeah, just about the same. Just look at Africa before slavery, just to confirm for yourself that it was not a jungle.
Hmm.
So only that.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure that you increase your knowledge on what was before everything before they came to us. Thank you very much, guys. I think we all learned a lot. I have learned a lot from you both. So I hope the listeners at home did as well. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. sharp, we're going to discuss the spirit of error, the power of missionaries. So we will dive deeper into this topic. So make sure that you then also will join us. Once again, thank you for joining Restoration Talks. Thank you, Brother Apoka. Thank you, Samuel. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Yes. Bye.